Yo, 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 what's going on? What's going on, party peeps? It is me, still Store 22, back at it with another celebrity thoughts. So, I'm gonna be doing Little Xan. I don't really consider Little Xan the type of celebrity that I normally know from on TV, but I would say this. I am definitely not a fan of him. And you'll see what I think after this video. So here's a little story document of Little Xan's music career and story.
Today on Famous Criminals, we're doing something a little different. Now, usually I talk about up and comers, people on the rise. It's smarter to invest in a small stock that's going to grow over time than it is to invest in Blockbuster. I explain this to people over and over again, and they don't seem to understand. So many people ask me to cover mainstream artists, and it just doesn't work as well as you think it does. It's better to be the first person to talk about something than the last one. But despite everything I just said, I'm talking about someone who used to be very relevant in the music industry. He's no longer relevant, and he'll probably never be relevant again. This is a story of someone who had it all and is currently back living with his parents. Let this be a cautionary tale to fly in red. We're talking about the triple, quadruple OG, the whitest rapper to come out since MC Chris, my former sexual partner, Lil Xan, or Lil Xan. It doesn't matter anymore. You might not remember who this is. It's okay. He doesn't remember either. If it isn't completely fucking obvious, he named himself after the popular Xanax.
Well, that explains where he gets his name from. Xanax. Xanax is actually a fentanyl type of drug, and I know a lot of people. There's a lot of people be overdosing from this stuff. That's why I quote said in my previous video that doing drugs, man, like it kills people, man. That's the thing, and people thinking that this stuff is good. I can see people trying to get money and try to sell this stuff, but this stuff right here is beyond dangerous. You don't even know what will happen if you ingest this in your system. It says I said something wrong by accident. A lot of street Xanax is cut with fentanyl. That's fentanyl for you. Overdoses from press Xans are common. I relate to Xanax to the opioid crisis because fentanyl laced in Xanax killed Little Peep, which I did a celebrity thought on him. Check it out. Most of my comments were upset about Xanax being related to opioids. I should have suspected the press Xan thing, but I thought it would take away from my point of the video. It's annoying when you create something and people just focus on small and nothing less. I should have been understood. I'm sorry. Yeah, well, you know, it is what it is.
It's also the cause of terrible music that plagued the late 2010s to today. History unfortunately repeats itself. Rapper gets a lot of money, makes terrible decisions, squanders opportunities, and is back to living a normal life in their hometown. Lil Xan was born September 7th, 1996. His family wasn't rich and he dropped out of school in the ninth grade. He
Hmm.
spent most of his time being unemployed, playing video games. He wanted to be a photographer or some shit. He ended up pursuing music. He made some EPs in 2016 and created a buzz around himself. Then in 2017, he released a song called Betrayed. And I remember the shock value of this video. He looked like a white teenager with face tattoos, and his name was Lil Xan. Naming yourself after Xanax was very edgy at the time, especially since this is when Lil Peep died. People
Well, that is true. You name yourself after a dangerous drug. that has fentanyl that actually killed a young rapper. Also, this is why I don't get about when artists like that decide to do drugs, man. And this is exactly why I don't respect none of these artists that do this stuff, because that's what they're trying to do, promote. That's what happens. You go to a label and then they see what you're going through. They might use that as a way to influence a bunch of the next generation that this is good, man. Go do this. Nah, man, this is not good. Especially if you think doing drugs is good for you. Think about it. A lot of people are dying from this, man. Lost a lot of celebrities because of this. A lot of music artists because of this. I'm telling you, man. Mac Miller died from this stuff, man. So, I'm telling you.
People were starting to recognize the opioid epidemic. Hip hop experts would describe his music as a worse version of Young Lean, but he did have a strong image. This song would go platinum, and he would become a one-hit wonder. To this day, he has never had a song to reach the Billboard Top 100 except for this one. Despite this,
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this. I've never listened to this kid's music. Only reason why it became because people are sick in the head. They promote this stuff. They just like you think listen to some. I'm not gonna listen to some drug addicted rapper like freaking Lil Xan. And the fact that it matters, people want to listen to this kid's music, but here's when he says something crazy about a legend, and I'll get into that real later. And I'm not gonna say it now, but I'll say it forward furthermore. So here it is.
he actually had a dedicated fan base. Xan himself would describe it as half the people are hip hop heads and the other half are young girls who think he's cute. Think like Jacob Sartorius. Unfortunately, when his 13-year-old fan base reached the age of 14, they decided that they don't like him anymore, and his album tanked. His only album tanked, peaking at 10 on the Billboard chart. Xan had a tour to support.
I'm sorry, but this kid looked like a crackhead addict. That doesn't suit well for me when I look at little young artists like this, especially drug young artists like this. It don't really suit well with me because I don't like it. It's like dude looks like a freaking crazed, messed up, like juvenile. Like dude looks like he's high on freaking drugs, man. Like he's high on freaking marijuana. Like that right there scares the crap out of me.
Support his album, but it wasn't well received. Many fans complained that he was disoriented and only played around 8 songs. These reviews are actually hilarious.
I could read this review. What should I expect from Lil Xan? Really, I had my hopes high because Total Xanarchy and Heartbreak Soldiers are both fantastic new projects for Xan, but attempting to perform live really destroyed my overall opinion about him. Last night, I attended his first live show in London, which didn't really seem like a gig at all. Xan has a tendency to not rap along to his lyrics, but instead say other words and shout yeah and a over and over during the song. Xan played his hit song Betray twice back to back. He decided to do another hit song, Slingshot, turned into a gimmick by shouting Run That Back. When the songs ended, Xan's friend Stephen Cannon performed his hit song.
Xan doesn't rap along to his lyrics. He just shouts yeah and a over them.
Well, that's the thing of being an artist. You gotta rap. You gotta go with your lyrics. You gotta remember your lyrics, man. That's the thing I learned. If you trying to respect, you gotta remember your lyrics, man. Like You know what's so crazy? I told you, I don't listen to artists like this.
And played his hit song twice in a row, and then played 6 songs by other artists where he just yelled, "Hey."
All right, here it is. Where's it going? Bounced back around. It was quite nice of Xan to pay homage to late rappers XX10 time. Sean, I'll call him Triple S because I keep saying his name wrong. And Little Peep, but he could play paid homage in a better way. Instead, Xan decided to play 3 songs by Triple X while bouncing around screaming A during the song and 2 Little Peep songs. But this time shouting yeah over the tracks. Not only this, but the time that Lil Xan wasted by chatting ish about Donald Trump and shamelessly promoting his clothing brand to fans could at least spit another 2 original tracks knowing and hit some back to back.
"Hey," and yeah over the track.
This overall set of this consisted of following 2 hit songs twice, a Stephen Cannon song, 3 songs by Triple X, 2 songs by Little Peep, and 5 original albums track not included Betrayed, and that right there is a failed artist. A failed artist. And I know this kid, and I can tell that this kid had some issues. This kid had like one of the worst albums you could ever put out. And don't get me wrong, people listen to this, man. I don't even know what you smoking on. And it's just my opinion. It's just listening to artists like these troublemakers. What do you expect from them? They just do it because they just think that it's all fun and games. Think it's all good hopes. Like like y'all. It's like come on, man. Hip hop is an art form. It's a platform. Okay, it's music. It's not just about just getting money and getting lit and just you know it's about what you're creating, what your project is, and what are you gonna bring on the table for people to listen to you, man? Like that's what hip hop is, and that right there. When I hear young artists like this guy or anybody else that takes it like it's a game, then you need to go to some other genre of music because I don't think hip hop is the right for you. I'm sorry. It's just the way how I'm saying it because one, that's disrespecting the people, like the main people that actually created and brought hip hop from the beginning. Watch the movie Crush Groove. I watched it. It's actually the beginning of hip hop, where it all started. And how does it evolve from the past to the present? You know,
Around the time of his album release, the man would.
and there's another one. It's called Saw this dude at Buku in New Orleans after watching his hype man run his mouth for far too long. Lil Xan comes out, and all I can say is I felt embarrassed for the little guy. I tried to stand there long enough to catch his one decent song, but I couldn't justify it. Between every damn song was several minutes of running his mouth with other rapper on stage who was considered better than Xan. His DJ was super annoying, kept hitting this because he. Yo, whoever put that, he's right. This is hilarious. Yeah, his DJ was super annoying and kept hitting this cheesy machine gun sound, Xanarchy over and over. He even pointed out some chick in the audience saying, "Oh, she's got her Zans out." I'm like, dude, your name starts with an X. What the f are you saying? Oh, oh man. Ah man, that right there is hilarious.
And would receive tons of publicity. He started
Lil Xan and Noah Cyrus break up after accusing of cheating. I have no sympathy. I mean, girls like effing around with these freaking messed up troublemakers. So what to expect?
banging Noah Cyrus, showing up to the VMAs with her. Tabloids would cover this relationship until its inevitable end. With
Ugh.
all this fame, Xan had trouble handling minimal responsibility and would have meltdowns.
What mental illness really fucking looks like. Y'all want to see what that looks like? I just did this to my car. Scratched it, keyed it up. I just bought it. I just bought this fucking car. Keyed all the way. Fucking door. I don't know why I'm doing that. Because of mental fucking illness. All this materialistic shit don't mean shit in the world. And when they won't let you do, I'm owned. I'm a fucking slave. I'm a slave to my management. I'm a slave to everybody. I don't get control of my license. I don't get control of my bank account. I don't get control of shit. I can't even drive that fucking car. They put it in the basement so I couldn't take it. I know I don't have a license, but if I had someone with the license, I could take it. So fuck everybody. This is mental fucking illness.
As you could see, he had a hissy fit where he keyed his own $150,000 car. And then this one where he finds out that his father is a crack enthusiast.
I just found.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with that. Like, I'll say I agree with one side what he's saying. Like, he's a slave to the industry. That is true because once you is a slave, you can't do what you want to do. I'll say he ain't lying about that because a lot of these artists are slaves. Like, if you look at them or what they're performing or what they're promoting nowadays, and yeah, they are slaves. But I'll play more.
I just found out my dad is a fucking crackhead. No, stop. I just found out my dad is a fucking crackhead. Yo, stat. I just. Yo, look, they're really trying to take me off live right now. You know how fucking.
Oh, and he supposedly went to the hospital for eating too many hot Cheetos. The school sticker and sent him home. These incidents just had people feeling bad for him. The tune would start to change when Xan would make questionable remarks. First of all, he would frequently use the N-word, and many Jits were offended since Lil Xan is indeed a white person. Second, he said that Tupac was a boring rapper and gave.
Okay, now that right there, I would pause on that. You see why? And I don't feel bad for this kid because one, you never say Tupac is boring. Because anybody that says Tupac is boring, you can get the freak out of the way and take a hike because you don't even know how or what Tupac's history was. Or if you were born in that era, you should definitely know what the heck he was dealing with because I watched All Eyes on Me and I watched a documentary on Tupac's life and his history of how he went through a lot of things. Like he went from an activist to a poetic to a rapper to an actor, and he was talking about mad real stuff, a lot of real stuff. The fact that Tupac shot at the cops, he went in jail, he got incarcerated for a crime that never happened. Some accused of raping somebody, a girl, but I know it was just to get some money. And basically, people try to take him out because he was exposing a lot. He was telling the truth. And for Lil Xan to say that he's boring, that's exactly why this kid is the way he is now. I don't feel no bad for him because hey, that's what his ass gets. That's what's up with you young trollmakers, man. And I'm young too, but I'm not gonna sit around and act like crazy like that. I rather do things and be independent. Because hey, if you're gonna be signed to some label, when you know that there's a constant like a contract where you can't say this, you can't do this because they own you. They own everything. They own your money. They own everything. So, like he said, he keyed the car. He did all that. Well, you signed a label, so that's exactly what he gets. But hey, I don't feel bad for him for him calling saying that Tupac is boring. Like I don't respect artists like that. And if anybody that says Tupac is boring, then you're asking to stop freaking rapping because you don't even know what the heck you're talking about.
Gave him a 2 out of 10. This infuriated the hip hop community. That's when Rich Homie Quan would declare Xan to be the wackest rapper in the game.
Well, there you have it. He ain't lying. I can guarantee you the freaking hip hop community was enraged for Lil Xan saying that about Tupac because anybody knows you never disrespect the legend of hip hop. You don't disrespect the legend. Rest in peace to him, though. Rest in peace to Tupac. But still, you don't disrespect a legend like him. You just don't.
If not all time. And then Eminem would even give him a slight diss, saying Lil Xan imitates Lil Wayne. It got to the point where a man confronted Xan at a gas station, and Xan pulled a gun on him.
Yo, bro, look at this little bitch, homie. Do something, then, dog. What the fuck you want, bro? Get the fuck out. Get out. Man, God, this motherfucker pull a gun. Hey, you don't see this shit, right? Look at Lil Xan pulling a gun right now. Look, little get out! Hey, look at this guy pulling the gun right now. Look at this motherfucker. Hey, pull that shit out of the gate, homie. Hey, homie, you a bitch. Yeah, that's why. Yeah. Look at my car. Yeah. Look at your car, you little bitch.
His mental breakdowns would continue to get worse as he's seen losing control at a food court, repeatedly shouting the N-word. A St. Louis rapper named Vlad HQ would pay Lil Xan for a feature, and when Lil Xan didn't deliver, Vlad forced him to cancel his St. Louis show by threatening him with guns.
You see, this is why I just really don't I can't stand when artists just like show blood. What you like stop with the freaking guns, man. Like what you're gonna you know damn well that you're gonna end up going to jail or pretty much you might end up dead. Like enough with gun violence, man. Like I can't stand that when artists just do that. Oh look at like what you gonna do with that, huh? You definitely know that hey, they're watching you. They're watching you. And I guarantee you, man, if you ain't got the balls to fight like a man with using your fists and you want to use a gun to end the fight, then what are you really doing? But still, I can't, that right there, I can't stand artists that pull guns, man. I just do that. Hold on. What is it? Okay, here I am back in. So, what was I? Oh yeah, and I can guarantee this dude had mental issues, man. Mental issues, but but with the camera guys, like y'all some, I'll be crazy going up to some artists that don't even want to be seen on camera, but they got balls doing that.
By 2020, Lil Xan was completely out of the mainstream eye. He was still releasing some music and had a respectable following, but he wasn't touring and didn't put out any new albums. It says here that he hasn't toured since 2019, and as we all know, that's how artists make their real money. By the time it was 2021, Xan would start making videos talking about how he no longer has money. And of course, he'd involve himself with the crypto pump and dump pyramid scheme. Xan's manager would eventually get frustrated with his poor work ethic. Now, Xan wasn't willing to tour, and his music wasn't generating any revenue. Because of this, Xan was late on his car payments, and there was still $30,000 owed to his G-Wagon, the same one that he keyed. So his manager took his car to compensate himself. Supposedly, his manager, Stat Quo, was paying Xan's mom's rent for several months. Now, this is why he's in the news again. Xan made a video accusing his ex-manager of supplying him drugs.
I was a drug addict back then, right? And my manager was supplying me with the drugs. He knew all my plugs, so if I couldn't perform because I was withdrawing back then, because yes, I used to be a drug addict. Right here. Yes, that. Whoa. Also, he took my car away too. That I paid. That the majority of the money. How ironic. Peeps my fucking cover too. And now he wants $30,000 of the remaining money to pay it off, which I paid literally. It's all my money in the car, and he won't give it to me. Always wanted to make this case known. He is a terrible fucking human being. You know.
He even had a doctor that gave a prescription.
Yeah. You know, it just sucks. You know, the industry just sucks, and that's a big reason why I haven't dropped another album. Is because it put such a bad taste after I got sober. It put such a bad taste in my mouth. Like, to even want to make music, knowing how fucked the industry is. They just want to keep you alive long enough to make their fucking money. And if you die, even better for them. Because guess what? It's easier to manage a dead artist.
Now, why is there somebody feeding Xan all of his lines? Anyone else notice that?
I noticed that, like how if you're gonna go on a rant on somebody, you're gonna have to come with your own thought. But I literally heard somebody telling him what to say. That right there was a big, like, he took a major loss for that. It's like the manager, the car was never under his name, and technically, it was never your car. It was their car, not your car. So technically, what's his point? And technically, that person is telling him what to say. And it's like, he can't even come with his own thoughts. So on the video, can't even say what he has to say. It's like, man, that's exactly why artists like that are pretty much washed. But hey, it's sad, sad.
Somebody's telling him what to say because he can't remember. He claims to be sober. Probably not true. Don't blame your ex-manager for your drug addiction. You were addicted to Xans before you met him. You named yourself Lil Xan, and you're addicted to Xans after you met him. Now, this is not about the drugs. It's about the car. Just make it about the car. The truth is, Stat's name is on the vehicle title for the car because he had credit, Xan didn't. He had a license, and Xan didn't. Xan's argument is stupid. He asked for drugs. Stat Quo was like, I know a guy. He's just Xan's manager. It's not like he's his father. It's just like me asking for candy and later pressing charges because I have diabetes. Me buying alcohol and then blaming the bartender. Nobody is on Xan's side. You can avoid reality, but you can't avoid the consequences of avoiding reality. This quote is funny, but there's truth to it. Xan should have understood the reality that if he doesn't tour, create music, then he's going to run out of money. Instead of taking accountability for himself, he's blaming his manager. One thing most unsuccessful people have in common is that it's never their fault. It's always someone else's. I'd have respect for Xan if he just came out and said, I fucked up. I took too many drugs. I didn't make enough money. I didn't tour. But that's probably never going to happen. Sorry, man. I almost forgot. If you like this thumbnail, it was designed by this guy. I think his Instagram is I Do Cocaine. He kind of looks like Lil Xan too. Anyway, thanks for the thumbnail, bro. I'm out.
Well, there you have it. So technically, it's not lies. I mean, he blames his manager for his downfall, and technically, his manager never even gave him any drugs. It's like the story that there is not true, and the fact that it was the manager's car, it was under his name, and that's exactly why he took it. So, yeah. So technically, whose fault is that? Not the manager's fault. The manager's just doing deeds right. He was just trying to help him, but still, he blamed his manager and he tries to come up with the excuses, and it's like, well, that's what happens when you lose everything and you regret, and look at you now, washed. But this right here was kind of like a twist and turns, in my opinion. But other than that, I've never listened to the kid, and I've heard rumors and stories about how he is and what he says and some other things. So yeah, so there you have it for this video on this kid. So hope you enjoyed the feedback and the review, and you know the vibes. Check it out. Give it a thumbs up and give it up to the 100 likes, and tell me what you think about this video and this review. So stay tuned, and I'll catch you next time.